And lastly, we saw the nature of the sixth sense, manas. The manas has this tendency always to, through the holes of Prakriti, through the windows made by Prakriti for the senses, through those apertures, through those holes, it always rushes outward. When it rushes outward, it starts sort of, roving over the objects around us. And as it roves, some object attracts it. As it gets attracted, it dwells on that object. As it dwells longer, it creates an asakti, a desire, attachment for that object. Attachment creates desire, and that desire is the desire to possess it. And we saw how when this desire is not fulfilled, it leads to anger, it leads to loss of memory, it leads to loss of intelligence, to discrimination. And the last of that series was buddhi nashat pranashyati. And when the buddhi is lost, the intelligence is lost, the human being is back to the stage of an animal. And therefore, we also saw that it is this tendency of the mind which is the single greatest obstacle for the Purusha to acquire control over Prakriti. And the more the other interesting thing in the Sankhya philosophy is that all the other elements which form part of Prakriti have a tendency to keep you bogged down, to keep you tied down in Prakriti. But our buddhi is part of Prakriti, our intelligence. But it alone has this quality, this virtue of helping you to come out of Prakriti. Though it is a part of Prakriti, it does not ensure your continued bondage in Prakriti, but rather it even helps you to get out of Prakriti. So this buddhi is the means, and as the buddhi understands, the intelligence understands more and more the way of Prakriti, the way of the sixth sense, the manas, to rush outward, to dwell on objects, to get fixed on them, to get hooked, etc., etc. The more it understands this thing, the more also awareness is controlled. It automatically, this awareness translates itself into acquiring greater control over the movements of Prakriti. Today, we shall now move on to the topic for the last of the Bhagavad Gita workshop topics, living and acting from a higher consciousness. But before we start on this discussion, we should spend some time on trying to understand what are the Gita's views regarding action. It is very interesting, and for many it can be an eye-opener. No doubt, all our actions are the outcome of the play of the gunas. If the tamo guna is predominant, you tend to be lethargic. If the rajo guna is predominant, you tend to be active. And if the sattva guna is predominant, you tend to be in a state of harmony. you can in fact see the interesting insight. You can classify human beings also into broad categories based on these gunas. Some people by nature are not very active. Their philosophy is live and let live. They are peace-loving people. Then there are these hyperactive people, and also then there are others who are very balanced. Now, these are the broad types of human beings. But each individual, even if he is sattvic, there will be time when he will be under the influence of tamo, of the tamas, or the tamo guna, or the rajo guna. Even if he is a rajasic type, very active, there will be time when he will be prone to lethargy or depression. In fact, this is something peculiar to the action of the rajo guna, that the rajo guna generally makes people's behavior follow extremes. As Sri Aurobindo has said, those who hope swiftly despair violently. So either there are these high peaks of great optimism, great fervor, great enthusiasm, and when the Rajo Gun starts working in the opposite direction, then you are plunged into a pit of depression, gloom, pessimism, darkness, etc. So this is the peculiarity of the Rajo Gun, and generally it is the Sattva Gun which balances this tendency of the Rajo Gun to swing towards extremes. Now, because our actions are determined by the play of the gunas, what are the different types, and it is necessary to begin with to rise above the play of the gunas. I quoted last time, he says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Rise above the play of the gunas. How does one rise? This is now becoming a little subtle but interesting. You have to be a little more attentive. On the one hand, he says, rise above the gunas. On the other hand, the Gita says that as long as you are in Prakriti, you are under the influence of one or the other guna. So how can one rise? If one is all the time mired in the play of the gunas, how can one rise above it? This is what we will discuss gradually.